All right, bro. What's up, man? What's going on,
Hey,
Nick?
what's going on, Dustin? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, and obviously I'm not in the office today.
No, where are you streaming from?
Not Applebee's this time.
No, no.
There may be some let's see, eggs and a bagel float across the
Yeah,
camera
it's just
today.
it
Not
looks
a
like you're
thing.
in the kitchen over there. They got you.
Yeah. Let's see if we give him a little shot. Yeah, we're basically in the kitchen. I said, "Would y'all please hide me while I shoot this podcast?" So,
Yeah,
man,
we're gonna get someone jumping in
yeah,
there. Special
we're in
guest.
Denver, Colorado. We're at Union Station, which is a train
Hmm.
station downtown, and waiting on our train ride to the airport, so that way we can fly home this evening. So,
Oh,
so we're
back
shooting
home,
live
back
from there.
home.
Yeah,
What were you doing over there in the cold in the
yeah,
wilderness?
in the rain. It was rain this weekend.
Yeah.
This week. Yeah, so we came up to Rupes headquarters, the Bigfoot Academy in Denver, Colorado, and we brought one of our detailers up here to their advanced sanding and polishing class. And so a 2 day training course. It was super exciting, super in depth. Jason Rose was the teacher. They had Prentice St. Clair, which they just hired on. I don't know if you remember him. He's actually the one that I bring into my shop every year,
Okay.
and they do some analysis and stuff. But yeah, so it was a training there at their headquarters, man, and it was phenomenal.
Ooh, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah,
So is that like something you sort of just sign up for, or did you do a little speaking there? Or
yeah. So a little bit of both. Yeah, so it's absolutely something that you can sign up for. We were
okay.
invited to come, and then of course I was invited to speak. So I
Yeah.
got to give Bookie a little shout out there and talk a little bit of business with the guys. So it went great. But yeah, so you can, as a detailer, you can absolutely go to rupezusa.com and they have their training schedule. I didn't know that. I thought I was under the wrong impression. Somebody asked me
Yeah.
the other day, "How do you get there?" And I said, "Well, I think it's you either have to be a distributor or invite only." But I was wrong. Detailers can absolutely pay to go, and let me
Yeah.
tell you this. I mean, if you have the opportunity and it makes sense schedule wise to go to this training event, any training event they put on there, go to it because it is first class.
Tell me, like, what sets it apart? What's sort of that next level? Because again, I use Rupes
Um,
tools, right? I'm
yep,
sure you use Rupes tools, right? The
we do.
polishes are great. I
Yep,
would say they're the leaders in the industry.
yep.
And now with this next level training, right? It's kind of like a whole different sort of side of the business, but it could be again, if it's as good as their tools, what I mean, I gotta get out there.
Absolutely. So, when you think of a Roop has tool, you think of quality, you think of professionalism, you think of
Hmm.
perfection, you think of like top tier, top of the line. And their facility, the Bigfoot Academy, their manufacturing plant, which is in the same building,
Hmm.
their training shop is all there together, and it's the same thing. So, like,
Wow.
when you walk in the building, it's just like you're in awe. The
Wow.
shop, I mean, so
Yeah.
Jason Rose actually, built this shop, this training shop. It looks like a detail shop, but it looks like a detail shop you ain't never seen before. Like, everything is lights. I mean, you have a track that lowers down with all these adjustable lights for correcting
Yeah.
paint. There's probably 20 carts filled with polishers, another 20 carts filled with compounds and pads,
Yeah.
a wash bay that just blow most shops away.
And you know
Um,
what's crazy is imagine you go there and it doesn't hit that standard. You know what I mean? It's like almost you'd expect that, but
oh,
it's
you
almost
would
like it still blows you away.
it yeah, right. So you would expect it to be great, right? You'd expect it
Yeah.
to be good, and
Yeah.
they went great.
Wow.
And then that's not even the classroom. You go in the classroom, and there's all the old Rupes Sanders from the '60s. You got these custom painted Rupes hanging on the wall where they do the
Yeah.
competition at SEMA every year. It's probably 30 of those, and then you have their whole lineup without everything that they manufacture at this plant on one wall. And then you look up, and where the teacher is, you have three TVs,
Yeah.
and and everybody's got their tables and rolling nice chairs, and then breakfast and snacks and
Yeah.
drinks and lunch catered in.
What
Dude, they
type of
even
lunch are we
brought
talking? You know, it's lunchtime for
uh
me pretty soon here. What kind of
oh
are we
look, I
talking?
just ribs, barbecue chicken, barbecue
Yeah.
pork, wings, mashed potatoes, macaroni and cheese,
Yeah.
corn on the cob.
So they feed you well over there. They,
Hey,
they take
but
good
that
care of
but
you.
that wasn't the best part. That was not the best part. You know the
Okay.
best part?
Yeah.
The best part was the ice cream truck that pulled up after lunch that sat there for
Really?
an hour for you to go get your ice cream. This is not no
Are
ordinary
you
ice
guys
cream truck.
training? Or are you guys eating over there? That's
Eating.
crazy.
But look, so it wasn't just an ice cream truck. This is straight from the dairy, like the dairy
Yeah.
farm where they pull the cow to milk. They make this ice cream there, and they serve.
Yeah.
They have a truck that brings ice cream to you, and
Yeah.
you just get the fresh ice. And man, it's incredible. It's incredible.
I think
So,
we just make this a food show now. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right. No, man, it was excellent. So I just wanted you to know, like, I mean, the level. So we're talking about training, right?
Yeah.
And Rupes is probably like what I would have to imagine top of the line, top tier training in it. And all that stuff matters, right? The facility, the products, the tools, the food, like all of that plays a part into that look. And they knocked it out of the park.
that's awesome. No, I love to
Yeah.
hear it. And the thing is like trying to put into perspective because what those different tiers of training, right? Because you can go to a convention, right? You can go to SDC, you can go to MTE and get training a little more hands off, right? Education. You
Yep.
can go to a Rupes, you can go to an Expel,
Hmm.
and I'm sure you know what I mean. You can do some of these trainings that some of these larger shops have as well, and it's kind of just those different tiers, you know what I mean, and trying to figure out what fits best for your business.
Well, there is, and I think tier goes with budget, right? You know,
Yeah.
you kind of like. I mean, this is my first time going to that facility. I mean, and I don't know if it's necessarily taken me that long to get there, but it's taken me that long to get there.
Yeah.
And so, like, you know, like doing things at your pace, at your budget, and not just doing the thing because like that's the thing to do, but like what makes
Hmm.
sense, right? So if you're new in the business, you know, speaking to our young detailers out there that are just getting started, you know, do they need to go pay however many thousands of dollars to make a trip like that right now? Probably not. Could
Yeah.
they go jump into a mid tier or lower tier training, or even go work side by side with somebody in their market, you know, just to help them one on
Yeah.
one learn some things? Absolutely, and I think that trainings need to be done when they can be afforded to, and they don't cause added stress on your business. But I
Mhm.
do believe in them, and I think they're extremely important to have a part of your business.
Did the people that were training there know that they were also going to be able to, you know, have you as a speaker? You know what I mean? I think that's also a really cool element.
No, yeah, they didn't, and I was very interactive in the class. Always making a point to do that. I think that sets not that Jason Rose is uncomfortable in any way, but I think it helps the instructor when you have someone interacting in class. So I was
Yeah.
very verbal through the class to make sure that that it kind of set the tone, and then also yeah, they get the added perk of those kind of things.
That's
And
cool.
there's a lot of very well known people in that class, and there was a like it wasn't an introductory class, so you have a lot of detailers that were advanced detailers that I've seen around a time or two, and these guys were there to learn. And I mean, just the level of class, the level of conversation, all of that was top notch. And you know, so detailers thinking about trainings, right? You know,
Hmm.
like you, it's not always to what you learn from that event, but all of the
Yeah.
conversations that are had at that event, the relationships you build, the questions you ask. I mean, so you know, you may not need to know all things polishing, right? You may know of the majority of it, but you go to a polishing class and you may learn one little thing that just changes your, you know,
Yeah.
your whole thought process, or changes the way that you do things for the better, obviously. And so it's really cool to experience these things.
In terms of sort of like can't give away their secrets or what's going on, what can you tell us of what you learned and what you did there?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I think their information, like you know, they don't try to hide it. I mean, you're able to take pictures and stuff like that.
Yeah.
One of the big things, and you know, this was really eye opening for myself and Dustin, which is our lead detailer. I brought him with us. I don't know
You only hire
did I
people
mention.
named Dustin over there, right? It's
Yeah,
just
well,
it's
you know, they have the coolest name. I mean, I hear they're
that's
as
already
far
a
as people.
plus one on the interview, right? Your name Dustin. Oh, we're getting you
Yeah,
started.
you're in. You start today. Yeah, but no. So one of the main takeaways from this is, so with the paint on new vehicles getting thinner and thinner and thinner,
Hmm.
they are wanting people to do less and less work, because the more heavy correction that you do, the
Yeah.
more paint you're removing. So
Okay.
Rupes has done a lot of work to figure out what's the least aggressive way to correct something like that, to correct new paint
Yeah.
and causing the least amount of removal. And I'm
Yeah.
fixing to blow your mind.
Yeah.
What they've come up with, and these are scientists. This is not like Bob and Joe back in the shop, my shop, figuring things out. No, this is done professionally with microscopes, and I'm not
Yeah.
kidding you. Like they tell
Oh,
you
I believe it.
all
Yeah.
how they figured it out. They have figured out that sanding,
Okay.
wet sanding, more accurately, damp sanding, is
Okay.
what they would rather people do
Yeah.
than heavy cut compounds.
Okay.
They
Interesting.
think, yeah, they're saying that the heavy cut compounds were building too much heat, we're
Okay.
removing too much clear coat,
Okay.
and we're causing too much damage to these vehicles when we can take a 3,000 pad, a 3,000 grit sanding pad, foam
Yeah.
back sanding pad. Now,
Yeah.
this is not to correct orange peel or
Mhm.
defects that are above the paint that we're trying to level out. This is
Okay.
this is to correct marring and scratching that we're
Okay.
trying to clean up and flatten the paint a bit,
Okay.
um, to just for better enhancement. So they're saying a 3,000 pad, and what's unbelievable until you see it in person, it'll blow your mind. But watching how little a 3,000 pad actually removes versus a heavy
Yeah.
cut compound is mind blowing.
Really? So
Yep.
now, is that a heavy cut compound on the dual action?
Uh,
Rupes 15.
yeah, on a coarse pad, like your
Yeah.
blue coarse or your wool, a heavy wool pad.
Yeah.
Yes, but more importantly, a rotary. The rotaries are
Gotcha.
building a lot of heat. They're
Yeah.
building a lot of heat. It's kind of inconsistent results. You can take a lot more than you intend to take
Yep.
um, off of it. So they're saying with sanding, you can get more consistent results, remove less material, and it's easier to finish behind. So when
Okay.
after you sand, you can go back to the DA. Actually, you can sand with your DA. You can put on your yellow wool,
Yeah.
and your yellow, what is it called, gold polish, and
Yeah. The
it
yellow.
will,
Yeah.
yeah, and it'll remove the 3,000 grit sand scratches. So, and there's
Okay.
a whole thing behind it, right? That was the whole day. We spent one day talking about this method, and then
Okay.
so you talk in the classroom for a few hours, and you go out and there's cars everywhere in the shop,
Hmm.
and there's and everybody's got their polishers, and then Jason demos what you're going to do, and then everybody goes to work. So it's a big deal, right? There's a big change going on in the industry right now, and that's what they're wanting to see detailers that are doing a lot of paint correction go to.
So in terms of like your shop, right? I know you do a lot of boats, right? Boats are going to get a lot more of that wet sanding going on than
Uh-huh.
cars. How do you sort of see yourself adjusting, right? Going from, hey, correction to sanding. Is that something that you're going to make a big change into?
Yes, me and
Yeah.
Dustin's already talked about it. So, and it's really like our trade-in trucks
Okay.
that we do for one dealership that we are paid through correction on,
Yeah.
and we're spending 2 and 3. We're spending a day doing 2 or 3 passes of heavy
Yeah.
cut and just a lot
Yeah.
of abuse on the paint. When we could have just breezed through a 3,000 pad, breezed down with a 3,000 pad, and cleaned them up, and then leveled it off with a yellow polish, a yellow wool,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
brought them back to life. So yes, to answer your question, we absolutely see us making a change in our shop. We were already doing sanding,
Yeah.
sanding jobs, but we want to see that more on our automotive side.
So for us, right, we try and keep it, the sustainability and scalability of sanding and polishing is something I think is pretty interesting. I know we're getting off topic, right? We're supposed to be talking
Yeah,
about invest in the best, but I think it's really interesting, again, some of the stuff you're bringing up. In
yeah,
terms of if you're just a small shop and it's just you, maybe one other guy, and you guys are doing heavy paint correction, I think it sounds real sustainable. I think it sounds really interesting to put into your business model. But in terms of someone that's got 5, 10, 15 detailers out there and going through that training and going through that sort of aspect, what's sort of your feedback that you got from them on that?
yeah. That's a different business model, I think. So we have
Hmm.
a big shop, but we have sections of our shop that can focus on these things. But when you
Okay.
talk about a production shop, or you talk about 10, 12, 15, 20 detailers,
Yeah.
um, I think you have to make a shift towards that more enhancement, light polish seal,
Hmm.
less technical detailing,
Yeah.
because because there's a bigger market for that than there is for the other, right? Like there's
Exactly.
more cars that just want to be shiny and clean than there are going to be show cars. And
That's
so,
yeah. That's the beauty of our industry. You know what I mean? There's room for everybody. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if you're all in a 5-mile radius, right? You can be that guy that's doing that on those super high-end cars, but there's got to be an area to be able to be doing these 1-steps, right? These 2-steps and enhancing these vehicles without necessarily the customer isn't looking for that crazy amount of work on their car.
Without causing harm to their car too, because inevitably, if we start removing too much clear coat, then it may not happen to anything right now, but a year, 2, 3, 4 down the road, and the paint starts to fail because we've been in and removed half the clear coat, which has the SPF protecting it, which has the sunlight inhibitors that protect the color. Once that starts to fail, and it's not like the owner can go pinpoint it back to 2023 where Joe Schmo's shop sanded half my clear coat off.
Yeah.
Like they don't have that knowledge then. So
that's when you see it. Then you put on marketplace. Then it's time to sell.
Right. Yeah, it's time to sell. So learned a lot. That was one of the bigger. That was one of the bigger takeaways. What else I take away from trainings like this? It's like as I'm looking at their facility, I'm going, why can't ours be like this? Like why can't why isn't my shop this clean? Why isn't my shop this organized? And the answer is like it can be, and you just have to value those things. You have to work on those things, and not only you as the owner, but anybody that interacts in that shop has to have that core value of I want my stuff to be first class, and that was a big takeaway for me. I spent a lot of time looking around at what made them so jaw dropping, like what made their shop so pretty. And it's the cleanliness of it. There's not a lot of stuff. I mean, they didn't have shelves everywhere and thousands of things to show. It was minimal, and they and it was pretty. So
that's awesome. That's awesome, man. In terms of any other sort of trainings, like I know we started with Rupes. That's where you're at. You gained a lot there. What's another training that you can sort of recommend or that you sort of see that would be comparable, maybe, you know what I mean, to that Rupes in terms of what you've been through?
There's so many. I have to give a shout out to IGL training facility out in Lexington, Kentucky. They have trainings there all the time, and it's top notch. It's first class too. I mean, they do a great job. They have paint correction classes. They have ceramic coating classes. They have aegis classes. They have all kinds of stuff. So if you're wanting to travel somewhere, that would be a good one. And there's literally all kinds of trainings. I'm telling you, there are training. There are people that will come to you too. Yeah. And that's something that detailers need to think about, because learning in your own shop or with your own stuff it's a lot different than going to learn on somebody else's stuff, because you may have all the right path polishes and tools and stuff at Rupes, but when you get home you're like, man, I don't have half that stuff. So you're trying to do things that they were doing with ease. That's causing you a real headache. So I think it's important when you're learning at first to learn on your own stuff if possible. Okay. Learn what you have, and then if you don't have what you need, go get it and kind of work your way to it. So, I know that doesn't give you a direct answer outside of a couple, things, but trainings in general, they need to be vetted out. You need to, before you hire somebody to teach you how to do something, do a little homework, find out what they do on a daily basis. If they're a librarian, but they just charged you $2,000 to come to the shop to teach you how to detail. There's red flag there. Yeah. So really do some, vet them out and make sure that it's a good fit for you.
So I think the other part that's actually kind of interesting, it's like, let's flip it, right? You're going these trainings, that's great. But I think we've got a lot of listeners that are phenomenal detailers that could provide training.
Oh, absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? Absolutely. And that's where I think it's another thing that we could sort of bring up where, you know what I mean? There's way better, there's some phenomenal detailers that maybe just don't have a large, 10, 20, 50 employees, but they're phenomenal detailers that can go to some of these shops and elevate them. And I think that's something that's definitely worth talking about too.
Oh, it is. And it's something that we've done at our shop numerous times, is have a training there. It's always, it boosts my guys' morale when they get to have people in their shop and teach them how to do stuff. And so,
if I could get someone to walk in the door and be like, hey, look, this is my work, this is what I'm doing, this is what I can bring, and you got a free day, I'll talk to your detailer if we work on a couple of cards. You know what I mean? Like, I would pay for that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But it,
You know, yeah, and those things are doable. I mean, so if you're on that advanced level and you know you
Mhm.
you feel like you have value and you can bring that to someone else, I think you should. And
Yeah.
bringing people into your shop, bringing people into your location, teaching them how to do things. There's one good thing about teaching is it makes you better because
Yeah.
you're going to get asked the question why. Why do you do this? Why do you do that? And it forces you to really think about the answer. Really think about why it is you do things you do. Not just that's just because that's the way I've always done. And we're so guilty of having that answer. Well, that's just the way I've always done it. And instead of really understanding the why, and that's what's important.
Yeah, absolutely. What are you thinking for trainings coming up? What else you got planned for
Yeah.
doing
So
training
yeah, we're
or
flying
trainings or
home.
events? Yeah.
Yep, flying home today. We're going to be at home for a day, and then going back to Detroit, Michigan, which
Okay.
is a really cool event. IGL's putting this event on, and it is at the SEMA Garage, which is in Detroit,
Okay.
Michigan, and it's literally what it sounds like. So SEMA, the organization, they have a
Yeah.
huge garage, and if you're a SEMA member, you can use this garage. So we are the first detail organization to use the garage at your disposal. I
Yeah.
think all you have to do is just plan it with them. And so this training is going to be a paint corrections training. I'll be speaking at it. I know Rupes is going to be there. IGO, obviously, since they're putting it on, they'll be there.
Yeah.
And there's a couple other ones participating. If I'm forgetting somebody, I'm sorry. I know there's a few of you guys, but it's going to be a big event, right?
Yeah.
And so
That's
that's
awesome.
next. Yeah, that's next week, and then of course SDC right around the corner, first week in
Yeah.
June. So yeah,
So
man,
I'm
and
thinking I've got it pulled up. I'm looking at SDC. It looks interesting. Tell for those people on the fence, right? Tell us. You want to tell them a little bit? I know you're speaking there as well. I know it's a little
I
bit
am.
bigger
Yeah,
for
yep.
people.
I speak. I teach two classes there on Friday,
Hmm.
and I'll be there all day Friday. I'm actually traveling back from STC Friday night, so I won't be there Saturday.
Okay.
But Detail Bookie will be.
Okay.
But it's a great event, right? It's a 2 day event. You can go in. It's 2 days worth of classes till noon, and then the show opens from noon to like 5, where you walk the floor, and it's all exhibitors. So set
Yeah.
people like Detail Bookie, IGL, System X, Rupes, Flex, all the manufacturers that are there. You'll be able to talk to them, see new products, see what they have to offer, use things in person, like hold the tools, use the tools. So it's like to me, that's what makes it important to go to these things. If you're buying stuff, you need to be at these places because you get to see, use it, feel it, talk to the people that manufacture, talk to the people
Yeah.
that know all about it. So,
And also sort of see what's new, because I think at a lot of times these shows you're going to see what's coming up, and you're going to be
oh,
like, hey,
absolutely,
I can use that in my business, right? This is a little different. I should use that. You know what I mean? I think
yeah. Well, you get to
that's definitely.
compare side by side. You're not on Amazon or not on their website. Like
Yeah.
you get to see things side by side. You get to hold it, touch it, feel it, kind of thing, and then talking to these people, building relationships. As a
Hmm.
business owner, it's all about relationships, man. It's
Yeah.
not everything. It's rare that everything's perfect in a business. It's rare that cash flows exactly where you want it. All the business, usually it fluctuates, right? You got cash,
Yeah.
but you have no business. You have the business, but you have no cash. You have,
Yeah.
and no business or cash. So,
No
or
business,
you
okay,
have,
and no time, right? Then the time.
yeah,
What
you
the-
have a
Yeah.
million things going on or nothing going on. And so, like, I think that being able to go to an event like this and make relationships and when you do that, then if you need something, that's a name of the face, right? So
Yeah.
if I need something unique, so like some favor, I guess,
Yeah.
and they know because they've met you at SDC, you've invested, you went to you went and
Hmm.
seen them. They're so much more inclined to help you out with something like that than if you're
Yeah.
just a number on the books.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree 100%. That's really cool. And again, that's why
Yeah,
I try and make a couple shows a year. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But it's a thing
yeah.
where, man, it's balancing that time. So
Oh, it's
investing in these shows, investing in these trainings. It's almost like it's a balancing act, man. It's pretty crazy.
It is, and it has to make sense. I see a lot of these same detailers at every show, and
Yeah.
and I'll be honest with you, I feel like they're probably it's more of a hangout than it is than them learning anything, and they're
Yeah.
probably spending money they don't have to. Now, if they're just doing it for a social hour and that's what they enjoy, then
Yeah.
so be it. Who am I to say that that's not how you should spend your money? But
Yeah.
as a detailer, right? As
Yeah.
a detailer that's looking to manage your money, and you
Hmm.
pick the one that makes the most sense, or pick
Yeah.
the things that make the most sense that you'll get the most out of, and everything else, just look at the pictures.
And you know what's crazy? I went to SEMA and I went to MTE this year, right? So I think I gained way more from MTE than SEMA. SEMA's just
Really,
so big.
so
It's
big.
just
Yeah,
so freaking big. You know what I
I
mean? And
agree.
again, very cool experience. You know what I mean? Nothing wrong with that. But it was almost like MTE is almost more personal, right? For a smaller
It
shop,
is.
you're building those relationships and you're doing that education. So
Yeah.
I think that's also an interesting take for depending on where you're at, sort of trying to decide look at the show schedule, figure out which one works best for you, and really invest that time and that money into it.
Yeah, I told a guy that's just getting into our industry this weekend, and he was asking about shows, and he asked about SEMA, and I said, honestly, I would not let SEMA be my first show, because
Yeah.
like you're going to get overwhelmed. You're going to feel like,
Yeah.
and then you're probably not going to want to go to another show for fear it could be like that
Did
one,
you go to
because
that taco place right next to it on the corner?
taco
Like,
place.
were you at SEMA?
Yeah. I was at SEMA, but I don't remember going to a taco place.
Man, I went to that place every day in the morning before we went over there. You didn't see that little
Really?
taco place in the corner?
No. If you go this year, we'll have to meet up at the taco
Okay. Yeah, no, I
bar.
got you on the tacos there, man. Man, I've been thinking
No.
about that's the reason to go back.
So we came in early as an exhibitor. We have to come in early and get booth set up and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and find parking and all that stuff. So
Hmm.
and I didn't get the chance to walk the show, like literally the last day, and I had about 10 minutes to walk our one hall, but that's all I saw of the whole show.
How funny
Period.
is it on the last days of any of these shows, any of these trainings? Everyone's so tired, right?
Everybody's
It's the
tired.
last day, right? First day, you got people, you're talking, you're
Oh,
making these relationships. Last day, they look like, oh my God, they're just zombies
you're
out
beaten
there.
up. Well, and I feel that way right now. You probably see it in my eyes. I mean,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
jet
it's
lag.
a
We've
lot
been
of work.
traveling. Yeah, we've been traveling nonstop, and love it, and would take nothing for it. I mean, there's just so
Hmm.
much that we get out of this, but it gets tiring, and
Yeah,
this is our last day today, and you're like,
yeah,
you've done had a million of these conversations. You've done had, you build those relationships, and it's fun and it's exciting, but it'll be nice to get on the plane and get these headphones on and listen to some relaxing music and crash for a while.
no, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I think we covered some good stuff with sort of
Yeah,
the conferences, the trainings. What did you have anything else you wanted to add or throw in there?
yeah. I mean, I just want to say, as a detailer, like, don't, like these trainings are wonderful. And you need training. You need to understand how to do new things. And as you evolve as a business, I think you need to spend time in business training,
Hmm.
not just tool training. But don't discredit yourself either. When you learn things as you're working with your hands, I'm a very hands-on person. Don't always think the grass is greener on the other side, and that person always knows more than you.
Yeah,
Validate your own discoveries. When you're working with your hands and you're solving your own problems, put a little thought into why things happen. Put a little
yeah,
thought into and Jason made a very good statement yesterday. And don't try to change two things to solve one problem because you don't know which variable solved it. But when you're
hmm,
solving problems on the fly, change one thing at a time and to figure out what it is that solves your problem. So don't feel like you just always need to spend thousands of dollars training. Validate
yeah,
yourself. Take your time. If you have employees, spend your time training your employees as well, and pass that knowledge along. That's what's going to make us great. Yes, spend some money, go to some trainings, get the technical side, get some business courses in. But at the end of the day, don't run yourself broke trying to get trained. Let that be the icing on the cake.
and I'll jump on the opposite side because again, I can accept my own faults there. I've been so invested just in the business and our training and our, what I mean, doing everything in house, right? And
Yep.
and that's 10 years of doing that, and finally coming out of that rabbit hole and looking around and being like, hey, guess what? I've got confidence in what we do, but there's a
But
lot of other opinions and stuff that can help make you even better, and being
yeah,
and accepting
absolutely.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, and I just wanted to get, yeah, you're spot on, right? And then listen to somebody. So you're in the rabbit hole of decision
Hmm.
making, and you're there. When someone looks from the outside in, they can really see little things that might be very easy things to change that make you better, and
Yeah.
always be open to that. But yeah, I like the thought of these guys. They're always so, well, I got to get up there to this or that before I do this. But I think they discredit themselves a lot too. So just guys, keep going. Um,
Yeah.
Pick the courses that are right for you. Vet the trainers. Make sure that you're really understanding what you're going to learn. What is the itinerary? Look at the itinerary. If they don't have, if they don't have a structured training, like here's what we do, here's what we're going to cover, I would be really alarmed just to see like, okay, how am I going to learn exactly what all I want to learn for this amount of money? So,
Yeah, awesome. I had one other thing I was going to throw at you. I know, sort of. Did you have a crazy day recently where it was just like start here, end there? Because I don't know why, but I did, and I feel like you did too. Did you have one where it was? Go ahead.
Now tell you. All right, say. All right. So, what is a crazy day that what?
Let me go first, and let me tell.
Okay, tell me your crazy day.
Sort of see like day in the life, right? They're like, hey, they're jumping on the podcast at 11:30. You know what I mean? Man, they've got it easy. He's over there having breakfast.
Right. Yeah.
I had one of just the days where I'm going to give you just a quick map in your head, right?
Okay.
We've got Libertyville, right, which is our store. We have Northbrook, about a half hour away, and then in between there's Hallis Hall where the Bears practice, right? Okay, so I just got to build that triangle for you before we start, so you know where everything's at. Again, day starts at 7. Kids wake up, right? Breakfast, great. Everything's, in the morning's family time. 9 o'clock, we got renters moving into our house, our other house, which is right next to our Libertyville store. So I got to be there at 9 to sell an auger, right? Just a random thing, right? Sell an auger, $700 in the pocket, like great way to start the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From there, we got to go and drive all the way back to Northbrook because the ATM is empty, right? We own our own ATMs. So I have to stop at the bank. I get a little Chick-fil-A breakfast, and I make my way all the way to Northbrook, fill up the ATM. After the ATM, I drive over to Hallis Hall, right? I got to go pick up the general manager's car, take it to Libertyville, wash it. As I'm washing it, I got to go back to it's Idlewood. That's the street that it's on, the renter, because I got my furnace guy going there. You see what I'm saying? You see how the story's going?
Yes.
After that, I go drop off the car at Hallis, right? Drive back to Libertyville, drop off the mobile unit. We had 2 motorcycles that had to get done. I don't have a car right now. I had to steal my mom's car, right? And then I had to go drive at the end of the day to Justin Fields' house to go do you know what I mean? On the big players, you got to be there. And then we knocked out his cars. So it's just like, and then it's 5:30, and I finally get home, and then we're outside playing with monster trucks, and the little guy, right? He just turned 5, wipes out on his bike. You know what I mean? And then I fall asleep, and then I got to go watch a little Monsters Inc. So that's just like a day, just back forth craziness.
What you described is every day of my life.
I know, right? It isn't. I just have to put it in perspective of like, man, it's just. This 30 minutes is a good time for me, man. I like it. It just breaks everything down in the day.
Me too. I mean, and leading up to it, you know how it is. You're always trying to make arrangements to get there. Make sure we know what we're supposed to talk about. Make sure for traveling, make sure we got internet. Make sure we got a place where people aren't passing steaks over the camera and stuff. But yeah, once you get here and get settled in, man, it's nice. And every day. I mean, but I think that's the way I like it. If I wasn't busy, I'd be bored. So. Now, I don't know what any day to do. I'll put a little bit of thought in that. Maybe that'll be next week's show is what my last crazy day was. So.
We'll do like a little animation, like draw a map and follow us through the day, like a crazy day that Nick and Dustin go through. Yeah. Get the steps in. But
that's right.
Yeah, I just thought it would be a cool way to end the show, just sort of talking about the day and day in the life, man. It's a good time.
I love it. Look, great show as always. Final note trainings. We believe in them. Obviously, we go to a lot of them. There's a lot of good ones. If you ever need suggestions, feel free to message over to us. And man, it's been a great week. And looking forward to another great one.
Don't miss that train. Dustin. See you, fellas. Appreciate it.
See ya.